Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, a sensational show featuring former NOLA Gold Star turned Chicago Hounds star Malcolm May, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on the College Rugby Corner, and Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it all started with our recurring segment, Rugby Morning's Coffee Break, with John Fitzpatrick calling in from the greater Los Angeles area. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a shame that you couldn't see the previous 18 takes that it took us to get to this point. John, how are you? What do you have for us?
Matt, one take, everyone knows the rules, but how about this? The Seattle Seawolves, they won the Davy Kutzer sweepstakes. That's right, the former Houston SaberCats fly half will be staying in MLR. Thank goodness, right? Because we need him to maintain his path towards domestic eligibility ahead of the Rugby World Cup 2027. But Seattle now has David Kutzer. Matt McCarthy, what do you think of that?
Great signing, and we'll see how the rest of the signings come out as LA announces them. And I have it on good authority that they're going to start doing that. I have it on good authority that players have been signed. So that's all very positive news out of the California franchise. And I think to date, this could be the biggest signing, the best signing, because he is a number 10, and he's a good one, and he's an impact player. So great to hold on to him, not only for Seattle, but for the MLR and USA Rugby. It's a win-win for everybody. Next.
Let's keep the good news going, Matt. Seth Smith, hooker from Houston, has signed with Anthem Rugby. That's probably a no-brainer, right, if you're a young domestic hooker. Why not go to Anthem, be set up with that squad, be set up with the men's Eagles? Scott Lawrence is right there. So, Matt, what do you make of that one?
That every team now is set up for U.S. domestic players. So I think that whole thing with the Anthem, getting all the players, is going to be out the window because other teams need USA players, and other teams need players that play for the Eagles. And they're not going to relinquish their Eagles now because the whole model of the league has changed. So Seth Smith going to the Anthem, okay, but other teams could have picked him up, right? And he could have been playing with other American players. So that whole dynamic has changed. And good for him going to the Anthem. Let's see how it goes. Next.
Yeah, one more here. Just bring it up since we're talking men's Eagles here. But the New England Free Jacks have re-signed Caleb Geiger. He, of course, can play hooker. He can play some prop. New England starting to announce a few more players. A couple Canadians, too. I know our friends are very interested in them. All
right, John, we're just about out of time. Anything else?
Yeah, Matt, I'm going to answer a question with a question. What are you hearing about the 2026 season schedule coming out?
Well, I hear that it's all set, as per the 6 teams. They had initially had one for 7 teams, and they planned for a contingency basis, and that was a wise move. So the schedule is ready. I don't know when they're scheduling it to release the schedule. Thank you, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning. We'll be right back.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are back with Mr. Malcolm May of the NOLA Gold. Oh, wait a minute. No, he's not with the NOLA Gold anymore. He's with the Chicago Hounds, thankfully. Malcolm, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So I'm really glad that, you're one of the players that ended up with a new team out of the NOLA situation. And you ended up with a good squad. You ended up with the Chicago Hounds. And even better still, you're a Chicago native.
Yeah, honestly, it's like every kid's dream to play professional sports in the city that they're from, so I'm excited.
You're a flanker / lock, but what's your preferred position on the pitch?
Essentially, like the way a lot of teams play rugby, 6 and lock. do kind of the same thing, except you do have to scrum at lock, which leaves you a bit more haggard, but you're getting the same job done.
Your uncle, or your cousin, rather, I thought it was your uncle, Mark May, played for the Washington red color in their uniforms at the time. All right, how sick of you are answering questions about him?
I haven't heard that question, and it's been a few years, so not that tired of it.
Penn State. You went to Penn. You played high school football and rugby, but then you went to Penn State and dedicated your time to rugby. What got you into rugby?
So I went to St. Ignatius High School at Chicago, played football in the fall, and then just kind of got a bit bored in the spring. And I had one friend, his name's Ryan Healy. He said, "Hey, I need you to come out and try rugby." And I'm like, "Sure, whatever. I'm bored." I went out, I tried it, fell in love after the first game. And then at the time, our football coach didn't really let guys play both. So I kind of put my foot down, like, you got to let these guys play rugby too. It makes us better players for both sports. So it's kind of what got me into rugby, just a friend telling me to come out.
All right. And then you got drafted by the NOLA Gold, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you moved down to New Orleans. And it wasn't easy out of the gate for you. I mean, you're a perfect example of a player that, if given time, will develop and find their way and become a very successful and reliable player. Plus, you had a series of injuries that didn't help. So what was the key to you becoming this reliable and one of the best defenders in the league, tackle rate-wise? What's the key to that?
I mean, again, you said it, just kind of sticking with it. I tore my Achilles, I think, my third game down here. But it kind of speaks to, like, the leadership that Ryan Fitzgerald brought in. Like, I remember Eric Howard, Kyle Bailey, Cam Dolan, Kane Thompson, just kind of sitting underneath those guys and taking that year while I was there just to learn, like, went a long way.
And how's the health now? Because you had an abruptly or a short season last year, right?
Yeah, tore my bicep. But everything's good now. Everything's good.
So you've had those really kind of tough injuries, the Achilles and the torn biceps.
Yeah, I mean, usually I just have a few niggles here and there, and I can play through them. But once every 5 years, I'll get a big one. But hopefully, that's out of the way now.
All right, let's talk to you about your NOLA years. 7 seasons. We talked a little bit off camera about how it came down and how it caught you guys by surprise. Walk us through that, finding out about it, and then realizing, okay, now I got to find a team.
Yeah, so we heard some murmurs a few weeks before. You know, we had already heard that we were moving out of the stadium. So we're a little bit concerned on where where
hold on. I know the cat's name, but we have to get the cat's name in. What's the cat's name?
The cat's name is April May. She's been here as long as me, 7 years old.
And is she crying about the move?
She doesn't know yet. She doesn't know.
All right. Well, we won't tell her yet. But how soon did you know that you had a new team?
It took a few months because there's so much uncertainty of who's staying, who's going. But I think I've known about for like maybe three weeks to a month.
So in that time, you're in limbo because you're not getting paid from NOLA, right? At that time.
Yep.
And now you're on your own dime trying to figure out life.
Yeah, essentially just kind of getting some odd jobs until the new season starts, and just working off my savings. So yeah, it's been a bit rough, but yeah. Can
you explain to me what savings is? Because I cover rugby for a living in the United States. I'm just wondering what that means.
When you try to be financially responsible, you save up some money in case something bad like this happens.
Savings. I'll Google it. I'll figure that out. Okay. Now you're going to Chicago.
Yeah.
A very good team, but the philosophy of the league has changed. So we've got less international slots per team. It's down to 7 match day slots per game. Yep. What's your take on this? Because as an American, this is right in your wheelhouse in terms of this is a beneficial thing, I would think.
Yeah, definitely, especially for someone like me who can bring some veteran leadership and also count as domestic. I think that's huge for domestic players, and I think it's enough foreign spots so where we can still kind of reap the benefits of their experience as well. But I think it's good overall for the game here.
And how much of a pain in the neck is it moving from NOLA to Chicago for you?
I mean, I gotta hope my blue 2015 Ford Focus makes it, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm not a big stuff guy, so I got maybe a few bins of clothes. Got to grab the cat, and then I think I should be good.
And you got the classic NOLA photo over your shoulder.
Yeah, King Creole.
How did you happen upon that?
I found it just on the ground at the stadium one day, and I just wanted to make sure no one took it.
That's a crime. That's a crime. From the ashes. That's a great thing to have. It's a piece of memorabilia. And, you know, people always give me a hard time about showing teams that are no longer in the league in like a montage or something, but it's all part of the fabric of the league.
Yeah, it's all part of the history.
You got to lighten up a little bit. All right. I want to ask you two questions before I let you go. What do you think of the idea of players having their own number on the back of their jersey, like in football and baseball and basketball and hockey? And I asked the other two guys about this on the show, Bryan Ray and John Fitzpatrick, at different points. But the point is, number one, it would be cheaper for teams to be able to not have to put the names on the jersey each week, or have the names disintegrate during the middle of a game and fall off. And B, market you guys.
I don't know. I might be a bit of an old head, bit of a purist. I don't think I'd like it, especially for film watching purposes too. Like, I'd be confused a lot. I'd be looking for certain numbers, and then I have to go to a sheet like, oh, whose number is this? Whose number is this? Whose number is this?
All right, that's a different argument. You know, that's to me a valid argument. But if you were playing in the NFL, you'd have to do that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they usually have names on the back. We usually
we're going to put names on the back.
Oh, we're putting names on the back too.
Yeah, the name. So it's your number and your name on the back. So you have a home and away jersey, and that solves those two issues.
I mean, in that case, there's no reason we couldn't. I don't like it strictly just because I don't like it, but there's no reason we couldn't. It would be good for marketing. I agree.
Wow. We had a conversation. We presented two sides, and we reached the conclusion and a compromise. Amazing that this can happen in America. Final question for you, and I know this is a bit of a tough, heavy question. How do we get more African American kids playing rugby in the United States?
I mean, I think it just starts in getting the sport in those schools, because I feel like rugby in America is predominantly like it's a lot of Jesuit schools. Like I went to a Jesuit high school, and that's how I got into it. So I think just pushing the sport to those schools, and then also like having like building up African American like rugby players who those kids can look up to. Because even if you ask me as a high schooler, like, who are my like sports heroes, none of them were rugby players. They're all football players or basketball players. So we need to build up those people to kind of be that, you know, role model for those kids.
So what number jersey are they going to be buying the Malcolm May jersey? What number are you picking?
I'm picking any number?
Yeah. You're a veteran. You're going to go first.
I'm thinking 34. That was my grade school basketball number, but I go 7 or 34. I'm sticking with 34. 34.
See, there we go. You just put your stamp on your own brand, and now kids can buy the May 34 jersey. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, MLR. You're welcome. Thank you very much. All right.
5% proceeds go to Matt McCarthy.
No, and we'll split it back, of course. I'll give you a little kickback, a little payola. And one final question: do you have the USA Eagles in your sights?
Yeah, that's always a goal. That is always a goal. So yeah, hopefully I can get back on the field, playing some consistent good rugby, and get a good look this year.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you getting up early and coming on with us, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I'm rooting for you with the Hounds.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, Mr. Malcolm May of the Chicago Hounds will be back after this.
It is eating season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. At Health Enhanced Foods, we got 17 baking mixes to be able to help enhance your holiday meals. Whether you're gluten-free, you need ketogenic, whether you are low FODMAP, whatever your special dietary need is, we have a baking mix for you. Go to healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead and use coupon code RugbyOdds to be able to get 25% off your first order. Let's get this season going. And honestly, whatever Matt's about to say next, just ignore it. It's not even worth it.
And we're back with Mr. Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on our College Rugby Corner. Pat, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great, man. The weather is fantastic for this late in the season. We got college rugby. A champion's already been crowned, and we got some more champions to be crowned in the coming weeks.
Tell us more about the rugby, Pat, that we saw.
Look, it's been fantastic. This last weekend on the NCR side, it was mostly a men's weekend. But NYRA, they had their national championships, and Harvard, they won their third straight national title, fourth in 9 years under Mel Denham, winning 22-19 over Lindenwood, the newcomers in NYRA. They went official NCAA varsity. This was their first time in the competition, and the Crimson held strong and won anyways. It was a fantastic match. Tiana Padilla named MVP for the second year in a row. So those are some pretty big numbers there. 4 titles in 9 years from Mel Denham. She's starting to creep up the all-time coaches list. And then, AIC won back-to-back in the women's D2 in NYRA. So that's kind of all the women's action. NCR women were off for the weekend. On the men's side, though, huge results across the board. Men's D1, we are down to the Final Four, and it is all Atlantic Rugby Conference. This is a new conference, kind of taking the best from the big rivers, the best from the Rugby East that are in NCR, smashing it together. And I think it's the best conference in all of college rugby in its first year, and that's borne out as all 4 teams in the playoffs have advanced to the semifinals. So we have St. Bonaventure against Walsh in one semi, because the Bonnies dismantled Brown 51-7. The defending champs going down in pretty dramatic fashion there, or emphatic fashion, I should say, in a 44-point blowout.
Wow.
Walsh and Marion was a fantastic game, 30-28. Literally a conversion was a difference in that match in terms of Walsh knocking out the Big Rivers champion. Notre Dame went down to Belmont Abbey 44-24. I don't think that was much of an upset. Belmont Abbey, the varsity side, they're training 5 days a week. A lot of academic rigor there for the Fighting Irish, but a great run for them in the postseason. And then Queens, 45-28 over Wheeling. And that's a rematch from what was a tie earlier in the season. And Queens is they are hot to trot. They are on a great winning streak at this point. Men's D1 AA was also fantastic. Let's talk about that division. Louisville beat Boston College in their quarterfinal. Bowling Green, huge over Virginia Tech. 71-24 to advance to the Final Four again. Tennessee shutting out Sam Houston State 20-0. And then Texas A&M winning a barn burner over Kentucky 38-36. So the two-time defending champion Kentucky Wildcats, they're out thanks to a penalty at the death by the Aggies to win that one. So we have Texas A&M, Tennessee, in Knoxville for a semifinal the week after Thanksgiving weekend, and then Louisville and Bowling Green in the other semifinal that same weekend there in Butler, Pennsylvania.
All right, Pat, what's ahead of us in terms of your commitment to the rugby odds and picking 2 matches?
All right, I'll pick a couple matches for you. I'm going to stay here in Men's Division 1 AA because I think that this is one of the most competitive, intriguing divisions in all of college rugby. And I'm going to take Bowling Green over Louisville. I'm going against my own bracket. I think the Falcons have their hair on fire, and they are possessed. Put 71 on Virginia Tech, the undefeated MARC champion. That's a marker for sure. And then I'm going to take Texas A&M to beat Tennessee.
All right. Well, Pat, another stellar College Rugby Corner with Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show. Thank you, sir, and happy holidays. We'll be right back with Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News after this. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we're back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News /Ray's Rugby. Bryan, How are you? And I think I know where you are. You're in the future. You're in Red Bull Arena in New York / New Jersey for the World HSB Sevens stop that is now going to be in mid-March. Is that accurate?
Just, doing a little location scouting, and it looks good here. The field's in great shape. I think it's going to be a glorious weekend.
You bring your snowshoes or your bumper riding? Did you get there bumper riding on the back of a cab or something?
We're going to be handing out some cross-country skis to the players. I can't wait for these teams to arrive. Might have some trouble sourcing the right size boots for them, but they'll be all right. I mean, nobody wants to see fast movers anyways.
All right. Truth be told, ladies and gentlemen, he's not in the future, and he is not in Red Bull Arena. That's a forest. It's a whole different story for a whole different show. But he's in his New England Free Jacks gear. But, Bryan, let's stay on that. The 7 stop that has now been determined to be or been announced to be in Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey, which is basically Newark, New Jersey, if you've ever flown in Newark to get into Manhattan. What's your take on this?
Oh, I mean, New York's pretty close to the equator, isn't it? I think it'll be nice. sunny and warm weather. I mean, it seems to be absolutely perfect for sevens rugby, right? I can't think of a better location. Can you? Is it? I mean, in all of continental USA, could there possibly be a better spot than New York?
The cynic in me, and I try to drown that person out to stay sane working in this space, and I do it mostly. I'm successful, but right now the cynic in me is telling me that World Rugby doesn't want the World Cup to be here in 2031. They definitely don't want to use the New York area, but they couldn't not do so without having us fail with an event and giving us this event in March without the men's team from Team USA playing at this point. And you said maybe that they might be added to this?
Well, I mean, the Canadian men's team isn't going to be in the tour either, and they've got a Vancouver stop. So normally what they do is put together this little mini 4-team invitational thing just to get them, some visibility for fans to try and sell a couple extra tickets. But, I mean, is anybody going to be that thrilled about that?
Well, they better do that, because I got to tell you, the people that I'm around here in the New York area, and there's a lot of clubs, and there's a lot of rugby players, and there's a lot of rugby fans, but they've just been mistreated at every step and every move, right? Getting clubbed like a baby seal for $14 or $16 a can of beer at whatever event it is, because everybody just wants to gouge. This is what they've got to do. They've got to have Team USA in this tournament, number one. Number two, they have to say, oh, by the way, it's $7 beers or $8 beers, not $15 beers, and advertise that, and they'll get fans. But if you have a 2-day tournament and the fans go there and they get clubbed for beer prices and everything else, they're not coming back the second day, and they're going to tell everybody not to go, specifically if they're freezing.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the first hurdle, isn't it? Is the weather going to cooperate? Does anybody have any comprehension of weather in New York in March? It seems like that has been missed entirely in this decision.
Well, I tell you what, the weather won't be that much of a deterrent for people that live here, right? Because you're coming out of winter, sort of. March can be fickle. But it is like the week of St. Paddy's Day. St. Paddy's Day comes up after it. Maybe they tie in some St. Patrick's Day theme to make it a little bit more attractive. But there's work that needs to be done to get fans to go to this thing in Newark in March. And it can be done, but it's got to be done the right way. All right, let's move on, because I'm getting all excited now. I'm turning it to you. The Nations Cup schedule came out. What are your thoughts on that?
Did we cover this last week? How excited I was about this.
Well, you've got to be more excited because there's a printed schedule now.
Yay!
With different color fonts.
I mean, it's, again, the good thing is we're getting the fixtures confirmed earlier. I mean, at least we're not hearing the week before, like sometimes we've had to deal with. Again, it's like, okay, we're getting some tier 2 teams against other tier 2 teams, which is the way it always should be, wasn't it? I mean, have we complete that agreement from San Francisco? When was that? 2017 or whatever it was. Seems like 1,000 years ago now, when they promised all these tier 1 fixtures and this, that, and the other.
Well,
thing.
they used the excuse of COVID.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know. I just
didn't stop some countries from playing. It stopped the USA from playing.
Again, it's hard to comment on any of this without the details. We don't. I mean, we can only assume that World Rugby's, putting in some kind of, money funding for travel, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I mean, it's good in a sense that some of these teams. I mean, Zimbabwe has some guaranteed games now. That's good for one thing. But some of these teams have no home games at all, like zero. I mean, I don't see Zimbabwe anywhere in November on this schedule. I don't know what's going on there.
How about the July schedule for Samoa?
Yeah,
their home games are in South America.
Yeah, Hong Kong versus Samoa, somewhere in Sao Paulo. Like, what's going on here? I don't know.
That'll draw.
Man. It's a weird one. I guess we can just be thankful that there are games scheduled and there are tests in the works. But I don't know how you can look at this and call it any kind of big win.
Well, and the ultimate winner of this thing doesn't move up, right?
They said nothing about any promotion.
Promotion relegation is not part of this.
That's not even on the table at the moment, as far as I know. So, again, you're just sticking a label on this and calling it giving it a tournament name. If you can find me one fan in any of these countries who gives a damn about winning the Nations Cup or whatever it is, it's just, it's nice to have the fixtures. I'll give them that. It's nice to have
but you don't get a shot against the big teams at all.
You're not lifting any trophy for any glory here, or there's nothing beyond that, so it's just another, it might as well be, whatever cup you play for against Romania in whatever game,
Well, when do the pools come out for the World Cup? Because could this impact the seedings in the 27?
No, because in World Rugby's wisdom, they're putting the draw at the end of this year. It's going to happen in a few weeks. So, again, I'm lost. It's not computing for me. I just don't know what the whole idea of this is.
Okay, well, that makes two of us. But, let's remain positive and let's see how the facts come out. Hopefully Team USA's men will be in the tournament in New Jersey in March in their parkas, and everything else will work itself out. And let's keep a positive attitude. And on that note, Bryan Ray, I want to thank you for coming on. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News /Ray's Rugby. Thanks to John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Malcolm May of the Chicago Hounds, Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out the Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter for updates, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.